Hey everyone, it's Henry from Jackson's LegalNursingGroup.com. Thank you for joining us for another episode of DME Decoded. I am your host, Henry June. How has everyone been? I know it's been 2 weeks and it's a long time between episodes. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Halloween and a great Veterans Day. And I wanted to shout out those that are watching who are veterans. Thank you for your service. If y'all have been following me, you guys know that I was just in Tampa. I had a couple of DMEs that I had to attend, and I talked about on the short that I have a go bag when I have to go to these medical examinations. In my go bag, I have my video recorder, an audio recorder. I also have pens, paper, my watch, and also, finally, most importantly, you must have a memory card to go with your video recorder. I know it might be obvious for some people, but you need to have that memory card. Let me see if I have my recorder here. So I'm not gonna promote any type of brand. You can just get any type of video recorder and just buy it off of Amazon. But the type of memory card that, or the amount of space that I would get is I want to say, I think this is 100. Yeah, 128 gigabytes is what I use when it comes to my medical examination observation. But definitely you can get any type of brand recorder. You don't need to get anything fancy. I believe I spent maybe 40 bucks on mine. You don't want to, definitely if you're getting into defense medical examination observation, you want to get something that is very easy to deal with, how to handle. You don't want to get anything fancy, especially if you're just starting out and you don't know if you're going to like being a nurse observer. Just get something cheap and keep it moving. All right, so let's get started. So today's episode is going to be about medical record reviewing. In the legal world, every winning case starts with one thing: medical records. You can't prepare for a deposition or argue causation without mastering this foundation. Diving into the role of LNC Medical Record Reviewer. This is the most common entry point for LNCs, legal nurse consultants, that want to get their feet wet in the legal world. And for attorneys, this is the first key hire that you're going to make, whether it's dealing with personal injury, workers' compensation, or medical malpractice, even criminal cases. We'll break down the job, the essential deliverables, and I'll talk about ways that aspiring LNCs can get their feet wet with subcontracting. All right, listeners, get your warm cup of coffee and get ready for the day because we're going to talk about medical record reviewing. The medical record reviewer is the translator, the detective, and the historian of the case. You're creating a narrative and translating the documentations so that the attorney and their legal team can understand what happened step by step. For the attorney, the LNC gives you three non-negotiable time-saving items. One of those things is the chronology. The chronology is not just a list of dates that state what happened. It is a legal timeline of what happened during the client's or the patient's time in the hospital, in the short-term rehab, or long-term care facility. It shows gaps of treatment, the crucial admissions, the also just the gap or the deviations of standard care practice. For example, say for instance you have a patient that comes in, they come in for fluid electrolyte imbalance, and the potassium level was 2.6. Now, as a nurse, we know that the normal level for potassium is 3.5 to 5. However, for some reason, when they drew the labs, no one even prescribed a potassium pill or IV potassium to bring that level back up to normal. That would be a deviation, and that would stick out like a sore thumb. Another thing that your LNC can do is write a standard care summary report. The LNC can identify the deviations of standards of care that transpired. This is the bedrock for malpractice claims. Going back to the scenario that I proposed to you guys about the potassium level being too low, we know that nurses can't order potassium. We have to reach out to the doctor. Now, say for instance, the nurse reached out to the doctor multiple times on different occasions informing the doctor about the potassium levels, but the doctor decided not to do anything, then that LNC in that case can document that, hey, this so and so nurse reached out to this doctor multiple times to no avail, and potassium level was never addressed. And lastly, the LNC reviewer can mention to you that there are some medical records that are missing. This scan is missing, the MRI, CT scan, ultrasound results is missing for your case. You can't defend what you don't know. And the legal nurse consultant can help you find out what is missing. Medical records can be vast and it can be time consuming. So having an LNC in your corner and helping you out for the duration of your case is a benefit. For nurses, this role obviously is beneficial because you're able to use your clinical skills and judgment and take that outside of the hospital and help attorneys so that they can help their clients. Now, you nurses out there that are interested in becoming a legal nurse consultant, you can view the other videos that I have on my YouTube channel. But hear this. This is not just about knowing what Tylenol is, what Lasix is. You have to put on your thinking cap. Think like you are outside of the hospital. You need to explain, and you also need to make sure that when you are writing your report, you are writing to someone that doesn't know anything about healthcare, to attorneys, paralegals, and the legal team about why this is important. There are three top skills that you must know as a reviewing LNC. You must see deviations. When a physician writes a note, you as the LNC, you must dive right into it. Read it thoroughly. Read in between the lines, make sure that they're documenting what they're saying, and is what they're writing supporting the diagnosis. Did the nurse promptly notify the doctor of an abnormality? Did the patient meet the discharge criteria? So, for example, was your client rushed out of the hospital? Did they get all the equipment that they needed prior to discharge? Was their blood pressure elevated prior to them getting discharged? Was the doctor notified? Was the doctor made aware? Did the doctor respond? Legal terminology fluency. What I mean by that is that as a reviewer, you are there to assist the attorney to understand the medical terminologies. So, for example, hypertensive urgency. If a client had this hypertensive urgency? Did this lead to causation or any damages? You are there to bridge the gap in helping them understand these different types of medical lingo. Lastly, you want to have some digital organization. Medical records now are all digital for the most part. There might be some people that still use papers for medical records, but for the most part, everything is digital. You need to understand and learn how to digitally organize all of your medical records that you are reviewing for your attorney client. Being able to create hyperlinks to specific portions of the medical record will be wonderful and helpful for your attorneys. And utilizing review softwares. And like I said earlier, the days of boxes and boxes of medical records is pretty much over. And especially with the increase in use of AI, I'm sure that in the next couple of years there's going to be a way or a AI software that would assist when it comes to the medical record reviewing, but you're always going to need that nurse to look at the medical records and also put in their expertise. So if you're a nurse that's interested in becoming a legal nurse consultant, but you're not ready to open up your own business, don't worry. You can always subcontract for legal nurse consultants that have their own business. LNC businesses are always looking for subcontractors. This gives you a chance to gain experience, build your portfolio, and learn the business without actually having the risk. Back when I was discussing on a previous episode about the AALNC, this organization, along with the JERK for LNCs, is a great opportunity to join the organization, network, and be able to subcontract with all the legal nurse consultants that are within those organizations so that you can figure out if this is something that you want to do. At the end of the day, subcontracting helps you and the business at the same time. There's a low barrier to entry. You don't have to have a website. You don't have to have insurance. You don't need to market. You just need your expertise when subcontracting. Mentorship. You're learning from an established LNC business, how they write reports, how they format them, how they communicate with their clients, and how they manage their deadlines. And when it comes to your defined scope, the owner of the business will give you your tasks and and they will define the parameters of what your objective is and what your task outcome should be. So now that you know about medical record reviewing for LNCs, I just want to let you guys know you don't need to have credentials to start doing this. If you feel comfortable and you have enough experience, just reach out to an attorney and you can try to see if you are able to uh, review medical records for them, or just reaching out to a business in your area, a legal nurse consulting business, and see if they need assistance with medical record reviewing. I just want to emphasize that you don't need to have any type of credentials besides having your RN license. You don't need to have your LNCC or CLNC to start out as a legal nurse consultant, starting your business or subcontracting. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. This was about medical record reviewing. legal nurse consultants. For you nurses, attorneys, or paralegals, definitely like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys in 2 weeks on our next video, which we're going to talk about being a expert witness.